So, how does stress have mirroring to your food and nutrition? And how does stress even have a relationship when it comes to our health at all? My name is Miss Candace Lee, and I know my pages are typically those funny little jokes or empowering statements or inspiring quotes. But today I'm going to take it a little bit on a more serious note. Um, I did a poll last week and asked my followers on Facebook, to be specific, to give me suggestions on what they wanted to hear a little bit more about. I had a final coming up for class and decided to put it out into the universe and to hear what my followers and people that were following my content were actually needing down on a deeper level. And the result and the answer was unanimous. Every single person almost said this or another option, but I want to say 95% all said the same thing. And that is stress, which comes to no surprise in this day and age. We are dealing with mass amount of stress. I'm not going to go about and talk about it right now because I don't think that needs to be something that needs to be stirred up in the conversation. I do want to keep this as light as possible because it is a really personal and touchy subject for so many people. So in the future, stress may come to be seen as the primary contributing factor to many illnesses and diseases that we're seeing today. Research is continuously coming out more and more how stress is linked to a number of symptoms and a number of illnesses and diseases that range from chronic to acute. Of course, stress is normal and it's something that we need in our lives. Sometimes stress can act as a catapulting factor to help you push forth and persevere into what we're supposed to be doing, whether it's trying to accomplish something in work or facing a complication with a partner. Those stressful moments are supposed to be healthy guiding tools to help you figure out which direction you need to take next. So of course we need that. It's normal. The thing where it starts to get bad is when we're not able to manage our level of stress at a healthy level. Stress is our reaction to our external environment as well as our inner thoughts and feelings. Stress is a natural response to dangers. It's our fight or flight response. It's our body's preparedness to do battle or flee from danger. This response is completely normal in the body, but what's not normal is when it's on a consistent basis, when it's consistently stressing us out. So there's something that I have in one of my nutrition books. It's Staying Healthy with Nutrition, and I'm just going to read it really quick because I think it's very, very important to kind of paint a picture to kind of understand stress a little bit more. So stress in today's world is mainly a result of continuous high demands that are imposed on us by work, family, and lifestyle, or that we impose on ourselves because of our desire to accomplish. Mild stress acts as a useful tool for motivation, for activity, and productivity. But when the stresses in our life get too extreme or too many, this may result in all kinds of problems. Some people consistently overreact to their day-to-day lives. However, most of us might be overwhelmed only when we have an increased intensity or number of stresses, such as excessive demands all at once, leading to a continuous feeling of not having enough time or energy to do what we feel we must be able to do. Others respond stressfully to intense emotional experience, such as personal changes or extreme weather or overexposure to electric stimuli, all of which weaken us. Stress can generate many symptoms and diseases mediated by change in immune function, hormonal response, biochemical reasons, which then influence body functions in the digestive tract and the cardiovascular, neurological, and musculoskeletal systems. A wide variety of problems can occur, such as headaches, backache, infection, and even heart disease or cancer in the long term may result. So there are many, many types of stress. We have physical stress, mental stress, emotional, the traumatic stress. We have the chemical, we have nutritional stress, and we also have the physio-spiritual stress. All of these are valid. All of them are contenders in our day-to-day life. Everybody reacts to stress differently, so it kind of depends on your body and what's going on within you on how you're going to react to each amount of stress. So, for example, we have that physical stress, stress that we could have on our body, like during a birthing process, or if we're exercising too hard, or if we break a bone in sports. It's that repetitive use of that muscle and bone, and if we overwork ourselves, we can stress out the physical body. There's that mental stress. That mental stress includes like the job and family related responsibilities, and expecting us to have that perfection and always thinking about the future, or maybe even working long hours. That could also have a huge impact on your mental health. And then there's that emotional stress, and that's the stress that a lot of people like to repress, and that's because we don't like to express ourselves, or for some reason we've shut that part out of ourselves. Um, this includes, those feelings of anger, fear, grief, sadness, the betrayal, disappointment. Sometimes we get stuck in those feelings and they start to resurface and recycle and spiral to where we're feeling it on a consistent basis, and it causes that stress within the body. There's the traumatic stress that deals with, stress could be like stress from a bodily injury from burns, infections. It could be stress, severe injuries or accidents, or it could be like a traumatic event that happened to you, and that could be a number of reasons, because trauma is trauma no matter how big or small. It's still trauma the way that it has affected the person that it affected. And that's why I feel trauma isn't looked at the way that it should be. But that's a totally different topic for another video. So then we have that chemical stress. That's the stress that we have with the chemicals that are in our environment. This includes the chemicals like in the air, pesticides in our foods, those daily chemical stressors like cleaning products, cosmetics have a lot of chemicals in it, so it's causing a lot of stress on the body and the skin. And then the unhealthy habits like drugs, alcohol, I would consider being a chemical stress, and drawing a blank. That's okay. And then we have the nutritional stress. So that might be, already being stressed out, so we're eating kind of bad for ourselves, eating junk food, or going out and getting that takeout every single night, or getting that fast food, or not really taking care of our body. And that nutritional stress also includes that excessive body fat. Food allergies. Food allergies is a really, really big one for nutritional stress. When we get allergies, and especially if someone who has a lot of allergies, it could cause a lot of stress on them, because they're having to constantly think about their allergies and think about, okay, well, did this person put this in it? Or they have to repeatedly ask. It's that stress and constant wheel that's spinning within the mind. Remember, I was saying earlier, it's all about stress is a reaction to our external environment as well as our inner feelings and thoughts. And last but not least, there's that psycho-spiritual stress. And this stress is the stress that is stress upon our spirits. It can involve previous trauma or stresses, but it ultimately just leaves us stressed out about the meaning of life, the direction we want to go in life, our purpose, our path, our goals, our passions, our desires, all of those things that everybody should be able to live and experience. And I do believe every single person should be able, not should, is able to have that. and they just have to give themselves the opportunity to. And this also includes like spirituality. So this could be, religion stress, or leaving the church and having like the spiritual stress of stepping out of that element. There's a lot of stresses that could go on with the spiritual as well. I feel like trauma is a really big one for the spiritual stress as well, but at the same time, all of them can coexist, and that's where we get that overwhelm of stress. That's where we get that stress hormone that comes in and goes crazy and it's like, hey, fight, or like freeze or hide, or whatever the case may be, because each of us responds a different way. I know that when I had stress in the past, a specific one, I froze. I literally just like would freeze, wouldn't say anything, and I feel like that had a really negative impact on me. And I'm very, very, very glad that I was able to work through that stress, that specific one, because that one cycled on into my life until I decided to fix it and face it head on. So I'm not so much going to go into the brain and how the body reacts to stress and all the hormones and the adrenaline and all of that goes through the body. I'm not going to talk about that because that would probably be like an hour-long video, and that's not the goal of this video. Maybe on another time. I do talk to my clients a lot about the systems and how it works within the body, but that's not what I want to talk about. So I more want to focus on what happens when we stress ourselves out a lot and what happens within the body. So I will say one more thing. No, I won't. So during times of stress, and increased demand, our body nutrients are used more rapidly to meet the increased biochemical needs of the metabolism going within our body and the hormones that are rushing through our body. So we require an increased amount of nutrients. When we're stressed, it's actually been proven that there's nutrients that get depleted from our body. So then our body is in demand of those nutrients. So the nutrients that are commonly depleted by stress include a lot of antioxidants, vitamins, and oh my gosh, sorry guys. And those include vitamin A, vitamin E, and vitamin C, B vitamins, and then the minerals zinc, selenium, calcium, magnesium, iron, potassium, sulfur, and molybdenum. So antioxidants are really, really important for our body. We need them for a multiple of things. Most importantly, to keep us healthy. I'm not going to really go into detail about antioxidants. That's a completely different topic too. But sorry, I got something in my eye. Hold on, guys. Not only does it deplete nutrients and vitamins and minerals within our body, but it is showing to show diagnoses with stress related to irritable bowel syndrome, tension headaches, bladder diseases, on a lot of other things within the body. Now, please, I want to reiterate again that stress is not the situations or incidents themselves. Rather, real stress comes from the way that we react to these events and these experiences. If we view stress positively, we will see it simply as just a survival response instead of that fight or flight response and having it trickle and trigger us into a different dimension and perspective. All parts of the body are affected by stress, but there are certain areas that seem to be more sensitive to others. So the digestive tract is the most, excuse me, is most easily influenced, followed by the neurological and the circulatory systems. And the muscles follow after that accumulate some of the tension and toxins from the metabolism. I will also say that, no, I won't say that. Stress produces these irritating, poking, molecules that generate changes within the body. They damage cells, they inflame organs, and they damage the blood vessel linings. Stress response also eats up more important nutrients, which can lead to deficiencies within the body. Stress has been shown to decrease protective antibodies within our body and to reduce important T lymphocytes that function in their cellular immune system. So this can go to say that your immune system gets dramatically affected by stress as well. Chronic stress is clearly a culprit in the generation of aging and the generation of aging and degenerative disease. There's also a huge relationship between stress and immunity, brain function, disease, and examining such problems. A lot of scientists are researching problems such as AIDS, cancer, and chronic viral conditions. So for people with high stress levels, there's multiple ways that you could do stress reducing activities to minimize the dangers of that fight or flight response, to keep that cycle that a lot of us are going through right now continuing. My goal of this video is just to kind of bring a little bit of an awareness and have you see things from a different perspective. A lot of that has to do with the food we eat and the activities that we are consuming ourselves with on a day-to-day basis. So what I'm saying is have more fun. Go out, express your feelings, talk to people, do the community experience, get good sleep. That's an important one. Everybody has different scheduling on how their sleep schedule is, but most importantly, your sleep schedule. Exercise is really important, developing good relationships, experiencing love and experiencing the joys of the relationship that comes with it, the intimacy, the change of perception and attitudes. That is a really, really big one when it comes to how we look at stress. When we hold on to our frustrations and we hold on to our grudges, we accept that victimhood mindset. And when we accept that victimhood mindset, it goes into our body and our subconscious that we literally are the victim. And so our whole perception and attitude changes around everything that we see because we've already told ourselves that that's how it is. So our subconscious says, okay, sounds good. Let's roll with that. And that's what it does. Another really, really big one is diet. Like I mentioned earlier, that nutritional stress. How do you think our food is, particularly our meats, if the energy of the animal, how do you think the energy of the animal affects the quality of our food? So for example, if you were to eat meat from a organic, all grass-fed, no antibiotics, no added hormones farm, and you did another plate from a cruelty farm, there's been studies shown that the energy goes with the animal even after it's dead, because once we pump the animal with hormones and antibiotics to keep them not sick and keep them, grow them as big as they could possibly grow, and then torment them. I'm not going to go into grave detail, but torment them to the point to where they're under high levels of stress. Once they that stress level is still there, that stress, that those hormones that they felt on a consistent day-to-day basis are still within the body, and then we go and consume that, and it creates more stress within the body. So I'm going to go a little bit more into detail about that. So consider the nervous system of an animal before it's being slaughtered. Think of their living conditions, the food they're fed, and how they're slaughtered. If an animal is stressed, their stress hormones, such as their cortisol and epinephrine, are high in the blood. So again, once they definitely have those hormones still very, very high in their blood and organs and muscles. So what is something that we can do to kind of battle all this day-to-day stress and all of these toxic toxins and stresses that get thrown at us on a regular basis? I've said like the physical and like, well, mental and spiritual and stuff that we can do, but I want to touch a little bit more on the nutritional side. So it is really, really important to remember that everything the plants have is what we want. They enrich us with vitamins, they enrich us with minerals within our body, and they have this wonderful thing called phytonutrients. And, you know, especially when I discussed that our body depletes a lot of our nutrients when we're stressed out, we got to make sure that we're replenishing ourselves with those nutrients so that that cycle of being healthy and recognizing stress as a healthy thing are staying on the right path instead of going the other way. You know, this is all about awareness. So phytonutrients do a lot for our body. They protect us with from UV damage. They protect us from toxins, and they have the protection from parasites and pests. So a lot of health benefits from, you know, fruits and vegetables is, of course, those nutrients that we need. And it acts as an anti-cancer. It acts as cardiovascular protection, and it's an immune booster. It aids in liver detoxification. It's an anti-inflammatory. It has protection for Alzheimer's and so much more. But those are just some minor examples on what you can do to not what you can do, but what the plant does for you to help you with stress. So there's a lot of anti-stress hormone or anti-stress programs and anti-stress formulas out there. I have a particular one that I follow with my clients. And vitamin B and vitamin C are very, very essential and seem to be the main constitutes in a lot of these anti-stress programs and anti-stress formulas. Which vitamin B, you ask? All of them. Every single one of them. Along with, you know, there's those niacin flushes that are really good for the body that kind of help with stress. But you need to make sure that you're still getting the impact of the other vitamins as well. So it's good to have like a well-rounded balance within vitamins and minerals. And if you're going to do that type of flush, you should be talking to a practitioner beforehand to make sure that it's going to be what's good for you and good for your body. So between vitamin B and vitamin C might be the single most essential anti-stress nutrient. It's an important antioxidant. It restores vitamin E within the body. And it does a lot more for the body. You know, it helps with our immune system. It helps with our skin. It helps with a lot. Vitamin C is a very, very beautiful vitamin just in itself. I did a video previously where my face was an orange, but and that was just a silly little video, but there's also sleep aids that you can take that are natural for you. So instead of taking like that Ambien before you go to bed or that heavy sleeping pill, there's actually natural ways for you to be able to do that and still get the vitamins and nutrients you need compared to the chemicals that we're putting in our body on a consistent basis. Another really good thing that's good for stress is Epsom salt, because it has a lot of magnesium in it, and magnesium is one of the things that gets depleted from stress. So taking that bath will help with the muscle cramps within the body. It'll help balance out the body. And let's do one more. So there's some herbs. And some herbs that are good for it are licorice root, and that acts as an anti-inflammatory effect and is known to be useful for stress as well. And valerian root is really good for it, either by itself or in a combination with other herbs. It has like a tranquilizing effect and can be used for sleep or as a muscle relaxant, either in tea or in a capsule. So it relaxes your body a lot, which would also be a good way to reduce stress within the body. Let's see, what else? Now, I know that the body has an amazing way to do things, and it's also really important not to, one more thing that I want to mention, it's also very, very important to not go to bed right after you've eaten. You need a lot of energy to be able to digest, and so do you while you're sleeping. When you're sleeping, you use a different energy base than you do while you're digesting your food. So what happens is when you go to sleep and you're digesting your food, your body does like a half and half, and it's like half of it's working on digesting your food and half of it's working on trying to restore the body while it's sleeping, when it's supposed to be at 100% working on the body and resetting its system and restoring the things that it needs to restore while you're in rest mode and in sleep mode. And I feel like that's a really big one. I know I've done it a lot in the past, and I know I've waken up the next day and I'm like, damn, I feel really sluggish and gross and I just don't have any energy, and et cetera, and I feel like that's a really big contender with stress right now too, as well as like the food and the junk food that we eat. I also want to, no I don't. So I want to say thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and if you guys ever have any questions or want to put in the comments what you want to hear about next, or any other questions related to stress, definitely send me a message or mention in the comments, and we can get rolling on that. I don't know what I'm trying